Welcome to the Indiana Football Postgame Show with Jim Coyle and Coach SHannon Griffith. A production of ISB Media. Now, here's your host, Jim Coyle, and game analyst, Coach SHannon Griffith.
Hey, everybody, welcome aboard. Indiana Sports Beat proudly brings you the Indiana Football Postgame Show. I'm coming to you from Chicago ahead of tomorrow's Indiana basketball game with Marquette and Coach Griff on the other end as the number 2 Indiana Hoosiers pull it out in Happy Valley and come away with their 10th win of the season, Coach, to go 10-0 for the second consecutive season. They get their first win ever in Happy Valley. And boy, I think Fernando became Heisman Mendoza today with the help of Omar Cooper.
I think everybody from the players, coaches, and fans all alike are completely drained from that game because by far it was the type of game that we probably would have expected if Penn State had not had the year that they had. You know, this was the type of game you would have expected at this time of year against Penn State, where Penn State wouldn't have lost 5 in a row, now 6. And Indiana finds the way to win it and waited to the last second, but they found a way.
Yeah, Penn State obviously still a good football team. Let's not kid each other. But they did have a backup quarterback. They've got an interim coach, so they had everything going against them. And I'm not going to pretend that they didn't. But what they still had are the great athletes that played for the team that was ranked number 2 in the country at the start of this season and damn near played for a national championship last year. That defense showed up today as well as they really put it on Indiana. Indiana outgained for the first time all year today by Penn State, as a matter of fact, Coach, with a backup quarterback by 10 yards, but still 336 to 326 overall. And that wasn't even that close until that final drive where Indiana goes 80 yards and just over $110 to get the winning margin, 27-24, the final in Happy Valley. Indiana, their first win ever there, as I said. Now, I was wondering, a loss here would not have knocked them out of anything. It would have lowered their ranking, but they would have still been ready to go to Indianapolis. And now this kind of really puts that away. Now you've got Wisconsin at home, and then you go to Purdue, and you can look forward to potentially Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. But they're 10-0 right now. They've got 2 more regular season games to go. And I got to be honest with you, buddy, for the longest time, Coach, I did not think that they were going to pull this out. But as I sat back and started watching, I'm like, you know what? This is where Heisman Mendoza shines. And he is as cool as a cucumber, man. He is cool. He's cool hand Luke back there. Yeah. He just does what he needs to do. He never looks rattled. This team has done this multiple times. They've scored at the end of the half at Iowa. They've done things like this that will continue to pay huge dividends. And I said it before we came on, but this was the kind of win that a championship team gets. You go on the road in front of 90 to 100,000 people. I don't care the circumstances. You come out of there with a win. When you're down on your last drive, that is a championship team. And Fernando became Heisman Mendoza today with the help of Omar Cooper, as I said. That is the catch of the season. I mean, you want to talk about doing what you had to do? He was not even the player of the day, but he becomes that with that catch. Charlie Becker was probably the best receiver on the day overall. Talk about your next man up, Coach. Man, yeah. How about, we'll get back to Omar, but how about Charlie Becker? He becomes, I think, the 3rd different Hoosier receiver this season to go over 100 yards. He has 118 yards receiving today on 7 catches. Do you know how many catches he had in his career coming into this game today?
I think like 3 total.
7.
He had 7.
He just doubled his entire input today. And but you talk about the next guy up. I mean, here's a guy that no one thought that Charlie Becker was going to be the guy. Nowakowski's been good. E.J. Williams has been good. Omar, of course. But hey, whatever. The next port in the storm, Omar or Fernando rather will find you.
Yeah, he made about 3 great throws on that final drive that just like they were wow throws. One, got to consider he gets sacked on first down, so it's 2nd and 16. He comes up with a big throw down the middle. Then he hits Nowakowski on a bender route that he threw it even before Nowakowski even was starting to bend the route. I mean, that's pure feel by him. And even with Omar Cooper, the throw to him, he's getting hit. They're bringing the house, and he kind of throws it up one-on-one, and he makes the play. But prior to that play, Becker made the huge grab on the sideline.
Oh yeah,
on that in that drive to get it all the way down there, where he went up one-on-one and got the ball. So that drive completely was a kind of a thing of beauty, because once they got beyond the 50, you could tell Penn State was starting to reel. You could tell that they were, okay, what do we do now? And then they started bringing the house. And I think he missed Becker on one of those where they brought, I think 8 on the one, and ball got tipped out of his hands. But overall, they, like you said, I think that may be their like 7th or 8th game that they've scored in the final 2 minutes of a half this year, either a field goal or a touchdown. And those are huge momentum, getters there. I was surprised he didn't, when they came out the second half, and, they just couldn't really muster anything offensively. And that by far, I think, was their worst game overall. But a lot of that had to do with what Penn State did to them, who took the Iowa game plan and basically implemented it into their defense.
Yeah, and if Penn State had a better offense, Indiana probably would have been in worse trouble today, to be quite honest with you. But they do get out of there with the win. And I noticed there was a comment by Ray, it looks like, that said, so all week I said, if IU goes into Happy Valley and beats Penn State worse than Ohio State did, shouldn't IU be number 1? Well, IU barely escaped. OSU number 1, Texas A&M number 2, IU number 3. No, I don't think so.
No.
It doesn't. Texas A&M hasn't done anything to jump, and Indiana hasn't done anything to go down. They go into a hostile environment and get the win. They do what you're supposed to do. They won. They're 10-0, and I still think that this is a team that is, Indiana reminds me of a great boxer. I was thinking about it on the drive to Chicago. They remind me of a great boxer. And everyone's talking about Indiana. Oh, they didn't get off to a fast start. Well, sometimes you got to look. You got to see what's going on. You got to get the lay of the land. You got to get the rhythm. But like a great boxer, you have to always be on your toes, because they can just out of nowhere clock you.
Yeah.
And that's what Indiana does on offense. But at any moment, they can just clock you. And it doesn't matter if it's Kalon Black, if it's Roman Emby, if it's Fernando Mendoza, who had an 18-yard rushing touchdown today, or Omar Cooper or Elijah Surratt, who didn't play today. And that's another thing people are going to talk about. But I'm not going to shows you want to talk about Indiana having some depth. No Omar Cooper again. Their offensive line is beat up. Yeah. They were down to a third string offensive lineman on the left side today. Mikowski had gotten hurt, and he's a second string, but he ended up coming in. And then I think that Benson was kind of hobbling again, like he was at Maryland. So they're beat up, man.
Yeah, they are.
Boy, they can't. This bye that comes up after the Wisconsin game is going to be great for Indiana. They're going to need the time to rest, but they are beat up. But they're winning. That is the difference. And they're winning games like this. This is a championship level team with a championship level coach. You saw the stat today that came out that there was a poll of the NFL general managers and people and it was not even close. Fernando Mendoza, the overwhelming projected favorite to be the number one pick in the NFL draft next year. So this is the championship level team, coach. They're doing championship level things. This was a close one, but hey, this was not, at Northwestern or at a team like that. This was in Penn State where Indiana had never won. So no, I think Indiana's right where they need to be.
Yeah. I think Indiana's gone into the three toughest places to win in the Big Ten, and they found ways to win. They found a way to win at Iowa. They went to Oregon and dominated in the second half. Now they went to Penn State and found a way to win in the last waning seconds of the game. That is what really great teams do when you've got things like Mendoza throwing the pill around like he did in the latter part of that game. Those are three big wins on the road, irregardless of what Penn State's record was, because everybody says, well, Ohio State beat the hell out of them. Ohio State had Penn State at home. That's a completely different arena. If Ohio State had played Penn State at Penn State, it may not have been, it may have been a closer ball game. So it was a 17-14 game at halftime, Ohio State and Penn State last week. Indiana was up 20-7 at halftime. And so I do think that tonight they're going to enjoy it. They're going to have to get back at it tomorrow. I think they got to critically evaluate some things that they are doing and what they're having trouble with, because they've got to find ways to get beyond some of the things that they're seeing. There was no RPOs today. Now, they may have been called, but they were never thrown. And that's the first time all year I've seen it that way, quite honestly. So there are some things that they're going to have to look at here to make sure that they have the answers for some things that have crept into too many games that they've struggled in and not been able to have sustaining offense consistently. Very inconsistent today. But
absolutely. And they've got to get it together. But like I said, there's banged up, and it's that time of the year. But they'll bounce back. I expect them to have a great game next week. Then they get the bye week, then go to Purdue. And I love what I'm seeing from this team just from the winning aspect. Like I said, this is a game that Indiana has lost for decades and decades. But boy, I mean, watching Fernando work along with everybody else. I don't want to make this about Fernando, but he's the QB, he's the guy there. And I talked about Charlie Becker. Man, what a day! What a day by a guy who has not been the guy, and all of a sudden, boom! It's your turn, bro. It's time for you to step up, and that shows you how much talent is on this team. It just running back depth. They lost Lee Beebe. Well, guess what? Kobe Martin says, okay, I'm a redshirt freshman. Let me jump up in there. It's just great and fun for fans to watch this, and they're going to get to watch it a lot more as 2 more regular season games for Indiana to hit that 12-0 mark for the first time ever, as they are looking to go 12-0 and meet an expected 12-0 Ohio State team if they get past Michigan. But man, what an absolutely gut check win today for the Hoosiers. And I don't think that we'll see any movement in the rankings personally, because they did get the win, because they got out of there, because of you mentioned, dude, they've won at Iowa, at Oregon, now at Penn State. Okay, that's pretty tough. I don't care what the scenario is. Those are tough places to win, and Indiana has done it. Did it and continues to do it. They've got 2 games left in this regular season. And boy, then it really gets to get up. There's only 1 week off after the Purdue game until that Big Ten championship game, Coach.
Yeah. And again, like Signetti said after the game, their focus is on getting their bearings back, enjoy the win, and get back at it tomorrow and focus on Wisconsin coming into town, as that will be the final game of the 2025 season at Memorial Stadium for a lot of these kids that will be lining up. And it'll be a great game. And but Indiana is going to get every team's A game. They are the hunted. There is nothing better for a team to go into anywhere and knock off a top 5 team. And it could happen at any moment. And that's the thing that makes college football at this time of year so exciting, when you have these games. And Indiana added to the cinematic finish tonight with Omar Cooper's stellar grab. And I couldn't even believe they reviewed it, because the back judge was right there on top of it, looking at it as the play was completed. I mean, talk about great positioning. He was in great position to make that call. So the only thing I disagreed there in the last few minutes of the game, and I said it, I even put it out on Twitter, I questioned
a lot of people brought it up already too.
Yeah, I questioned the squib kick there, because you're up 3 and gave them great field position. It shortened the field because they only needed to get to the 35 to get a try. If they think the kid can kick it in the end zone, great. Maybe that was the reason. I don't know, or pooch kick it. But I've seen those squib kicks at the end of the game cost a ball game for your team. And I'll be the first one to admit it. It cost me a game because I was overthinking the situation, worrying about a big return that the kid we had him squib kick, and it ultimately led to a field goal that beat us. And I said, never again will I squib kick in that final part of the game. I'm going to let my kids go down and make a play and kick the ball away. And that's the only question I would ask Sig, what was the thought process there, just from that standpoint of why squib. But it paid off. It didn't matter. And their defense came out and rose to the occasion.
Absolutely. And they had a tough time, a lot tougher time than I thought they would, slowing down Penn State's running game today.
Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned it earlier, Indiana outgained today for the first time all season by this Penn State team, 336 to 326 overall. But they beat them in the passing game by a yard, 219 to 218, and rushing 117 to 108. So Indiana doesn't put a ton of yards up today, but they do what they have to do. They get the job done. And on the rushing side, 71 yards for Singleton, Allen 48. They're two biggies. Big run by Fernando Mendoza early on to score that first touchdown. That was 18 yards too, man. That was not expected, but he has really stepped up and made it tough on teams, because you got to watch out for the passing, but you cannot leave him alone. But one of the things that stood out to me early on, when I thought this game was a lost cause, was third down, and one of the reasons would have been third downs. Indiana couldn't stop at one point Penn State on third downs. They were 7 of 12. They ended up, though, 8 of 15. They would only get one more after that. But Indiana, they were 5 of 12 on the day. They were 4 of 11 at the time, but they couldn't seem to get past third down at times. So that was a big part of that.
And that's because their first and second down was not very good today. They were not being efficient on first and second down consistently enough that put them in third and medium and short. They were in a lot of third and longs today. That becomes overly predictable what you're going to do, and Penn State would pin their ears back and come after them. And that Sutton kid, he's a beast now. That's number 33. That kid has been a player for them for a while. He showed why today a couple times. But, the defense, on the other hand, you can't, they only give up 117 yards on the ground. That's pretty darn good, even though they've been averaging 80, and still only give up 200 yards through the air. Again, it's a pretty good day for the defense. It was the lackluster performance by offense in the second half that kind of contributed to some of those inconsistencies. But those kids believed that they could get it done, and they found a way to get it done. And that's what, that's what great teams do.
Absolutely, 100%. And if you don't think this game was close, people, here's some other numbers for you. Let's see. First downs, Indiana 19, Penn State 17. Fourth downs, both go 1 of 1. Total plays, Indiana 62, Penn State 64. Average yards per play, 5.3 both sides. Average or in the red zone, Indiana 5 of 5, Penn State 4 of 4. There was one other one. Thought tackles for loss, Indiana 9, Penn State 8. And see, there was one more tag on it that same exact yardage that blew my mind. But see, that was the average yards per play I already gave. Oh, average yards per rush, 3.5. Both sides again. So that shows how close this game actually was. That's pretty damn close for statistics like that. And just Indiana getting it done on the road. And again, that is, someone mentioned that Kurt Signetti had said before the game that this team has never played here when they were talking about Indiana had never won and all that. And what a great thing to think of. See, that's great stuff to come up with, because they didn't hear that coming into this game. Nobody heard that coming into this game. All everybody heard was Indiana's never won in Happy Valley. Indiana's never won in Happy Valley. Well, why would you want to tell a team that has never been there? It doesn't matter. They've never been there. So that was a great thing for Kurt State to come up with. They've never been there. So I guess he could have said, well, Penn State's never played this Indiana team.
Yeah, and again, like I agree with you. That was a great response when I asked about the overall record, not winning at Penn State, and making the comment, look, this team's never played there, and what worries him? He said, nothing. It's time to go play football. So, I mean, when your head coach when you talk about Signetti and his process and his blueprint and the way he does things, and you see the kids buying into it, today's a prime example of why he talks about forget the last play, play the next play. And today it took that next play to get it done, when there was many times this team could have folded under 4 minutes, Penn State with the ball, and all they needed to do was get 2 first downs. And Indiana was able to rise up, stop them, get the ball back with a little over 2 minutes to orchestrate that drive. And again, we've seen them do that type of thing at the halftime more times than at the end of the game that we saw today. But the way this team does it, it's almost poetic in the way that they are able to have poise under fire and make things happen and get points on the board, whether it's at halftime or in this case, the end of the game.
Yeah, Mission has a great comment. He says, I don't want to hear about close game win in Happy Valley. He goes, that's a bowl game for Penn State. And it is. That's their season right there. That was it. They had gotten past all the stuff that they had been going through, as I said earlier, and had finally had a chance to catch their breath. And Coach, is it Tim Smith, I think?
Terry Smith.
Terry, yeah, he probably gathered his guys and says, hey, guys, come on. And they were able to put that stuff behind them and play. And they've got don't forget, they've got a hell of a defensive coordinator. I think this is the guy that was at Ohio State last year that's making a bunch of money. So, they weren't playing Joe Schmo here today. So, I don't care that it was a close game. They won. That's all that matters.
It's like Sig says, the difference between winning and losing is about that much.
Yep.
And that's very true. And though the record says Penn State is now 3-6, everybody would just assume that they're horrible as a football team. That is not the case. They are not a horrible team. They have got great talent that have been victimized by some things that they haven't accustomed to having at Penn State. And they've been snake bitten. That's all. But this is a team that is pretty darn good with some good coaches, and you saw that today. They were able to get a team ready to play a game that had a little bit of meaning, because we're still fighting for a bowl potentially. But you got coaches that don't even know if they're going to be there in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I mean, so I give them a ton of credit for what they're able to do, knowing that this is probably their last few weeks employed at Penn State.
Yeah, Ohio State only put up 34 today on Purdue, so that shows it's just tough, baby. Football's a tough game. Cuddle Buddies thinks that they're overrated. Hey, many people might. That's fine. That's why they play the games. I don't care. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was Zach's unbelievable catch. Yes, it was. So much of awareness. He has to know where he was. Yeah, getting that toe down. I mean, you want to talk about a toe tap. That was unbelievable. What was better, getting the catch or getting your damn toe down in bounds? He's going away. There is no way he gets his toe down. There's no way that can. And boy, did he.
Yeah.
And Omar,
we've seen him do that all year, and he is. I don't know if the word double jointed fits in this equation or not, but all year you've seen him. Make defensive players look bad in the open field because he jukes them so bad, because he's got the shakes and the shimmies. And even on that one there, it was like the same thing. He was able to get that foot down. And even when they were replaying in slow motion, you were thinking there's no way he's going to get that foot in, even in the slow motion when you already knew it was a touchdown. But yeah, that in itself was NFL type of play. And he may have helped himself get some opportunities in the NFL with a play like that today. And I love it. I'm happy for Becker. I'm happy for that kid, because I've watched that kid really work at it. We saw him in the spring game it may have been this last spring, where he had a really good spring game. And you could tell that he was on the cusp of being in a position to help this team. And boy, did he. He went out today and 7 catches for 118 yards, had the big long catch for 53. I'm happy for a kid like that, because he works his tail off.
Absolutely. Roy, obviously a big SEC fan, which is cool. IU was so lucky they don't play in the SEC. Barely escaped a team that hasn't beat anyone all season. No way IU should be number 1 after today. Number 3 is where they belong. I didn't say they should be number 1 after today.
Oh, no.
I think they're fine where they are.
We appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. And guess what? I believe IU will probably get a chance to play one of those SEC teams, so we'll get a chance to find out if things go the way they should. If they win the Big Ten championship, they'll head to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Mm-hmm. If they were to lose, I personally think they end up in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, right.
That is my guesstimation, because I think that if they go 12-1 with the loss coming in the Big Ten championship game, that'll drop them probably to number 3, and that will move. If Texas A&M remains unbeaten, that Texas A&M would move up to the number 2 spot, and I think that the 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going to be Big Ten SEC. I think it's going to be 1 and 2 are the Big Ten and the SEC winners, and 3 and 4 will be the Big Ten and SEC championship loser. That's how I think it'll go. But we sure shall see. But hey, Roy, it's great, man. That's why they play the game, brother. I love it. Some great football in the SEC. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love great football. My daughter went to Ole Miss. Is still there in grad school. I love great football. Going to watch some here in a little bit. Iowa State, TCU right now. Josh Hoover playing for TCU, seeing if he can get what he can get done there.
But Oregon, Iowa was on, and it's 2-0 in the second quarter.
Bottom of the second.
Yeah, 2-0.
Bottom
Oregon.
of the second. Here's a score from Iowa City in the bottom of the second. Hawkeyes 2, Ducks nothing.
Well, Oregon, Iowa's got them right where they want them in a sloppy game like Indiana had against them. So it's Iowa's got them right where they want them in a sloppy game.
And guess what? I think that's dangerous. If that is actually true, I think that's going to be dangerous for Oregon. I don't know that Oregon has that. I don't know that Oregon has the last second scoring ability that we saw from Fernando in Indiana.
Well,
maybe
lost
they
their
do.
Best receiver today. The more kids.
Oregon did.
Yeah, he's out today.
Oh,
So
that stinks.
that hurts them. But Oregon, you know, again, winning at Iowa City is hard, and we've seen that, and we know that, but like everyone has an opinion about it. That's what makes college football great. That's why I invite everybody to come to the tailgate and come to here after the game, because this is why we love football. That's why everybody's here. They love football. They love Indiana.
And we got to get Roy to bring some of his SEC buds over. Hey, babe, we'll just chop it up. I love it.
Bring some whiskey along, and we could sit here with some cigars. But again,
can we do that? I would love to be doing that right now.
Well, you couldn't do it in your
no, not in the hotel room. I'd have to do this.
But I'm
outside,
sure the guys will have some great write-ups of the game there on the Hoosier.com, as well as I know that Zach was out there today as you're looking at a beautiful scenery of Chicago right there, Lake Michigan in the view. My daughter lives in Chicago.
I thought you were going to say she lives in Lake Michigan.
Oh, no. She lives on, I think it's Roscoe, which is right downtown, a few blocks away from.
Coltrane.
Yeah. So
what a view that is. Grant Park. Wow.
And then you've got the Hoosiers in Marquette tomorrow, which is going to be a dandy of a game as well.
Absolutely.
And what nothing better would be to see Indiana finish the weekend 2-0 with the Hoosier basketball team getting a big victory. And let's solidify that championship weekend and make it a Indiana all red weekend there in Indianapolis. Of course, Louisville is going to be there, and Ohio State's going to be there, so it's going to be a complete red out.
Absolutely right on that one. Hey, Michigan asking, I don't understand, because I heard this come up earlier. I don't understand all the zone coverage. Penn State, their receivers stink. But although they did throw the ball around the field today.
Well, I think the biggest thing was some of the zone coverage that they were talking about is probably a lot of fire zone, where they're looking like man and bailing into 3 deep, which is kind of a trait of what Indiana likes to do. And I think in some respects, you're conscious of not giving up the big play, which they did on that 60-yard run that Singleton hit them for. That was 60 of his 71 of the day was on that one play. So, but yeah, I don't know how many times they did play zone, didn't play zone. I'll have to wait to see a better copy to understand it. But my guess is it was more fire zone type of setups and things of that magnitude. I tell you, the defensive line, they were hot and cold today, but I tell you, Daly and Hoser Wheeler, they made some plays today that were like, oh my gosh, that was just
Didn't Wheeler transfer from Penn State?
Wheeler came from Western Kentucky, and but he may have been via, he may be a double transfer. I don't know that, but Daly was the other kid who is the most athletic defender they have there in the D line. There was one play, he almost took the handoff from Katron Allen, and it was all based upon his speed getting across the line there. But again, Indiana has the players. They've got the talent. It's something that this team really hasn't had. They've had some great teams over the year with that's, quarterbacks and all that, but this team really plays off of one another. And today was a prime example of getting that complementary football played in the last 2 minutes. The defense gets a stop. Indiana gets the ball back and goes down the field and scores. And you can't draw it up better than that, even on the goal line play. I don't know if that was drawn up in the dirt or not. I couldn't remember what Sig said afterwards, but overall, just a tremendous, tremendous game. And one we'll have to reflect on Monday when we get a chance to take a breath and look at this game from a different perspective.
Absolutely. And man, it just keeps getting better for this team, for Indiana fans, as this season continues to just stay spectacular. And I think it's going to continue that way. As Google him, baby. Google him. That's right. Google 10 wins in back-to-back years. Never happened. Indiana's never gone 10-0 until last year. Now they've done it back-to-back.
Yeah.
So now they have a chance to go 12-0. And but barring something absolutely crazy like an asteroid landing on planet Earth, I can't see that not happening. But it damn near happened in Happy Valley today, as Indiana goes in to State College and comes out with a win, 27-24, as they were trailing with just over a minute 10, or a little bit more than that. The drive took a minute 10, so there was less than 2 minutes, I think, to play in the game when Indiana got the ball. 80 yards, 10 or 11 plays, I forget. First of all, think about that. Although they did it in a minute 10, it was still a 10 or an 11 play drive. You put that plays. Amount of, how many?
10 plays, 80 yards, 10? A minute 15.
Okay, so 10 play drive. You have to put a 10 play drive together in perfection. You can't have mistakes. You don't have time for mistakes. You've got to get down the field. You can't waste time. You're out of timeouts. I mean, this team, this is how you win games. I mean, close games when they're close. You'd rather not be in that situation, but this is a team that's never out. This is like, and I don't want, this is going to sound like, I'm blowing them up here, but it's kind of a Patrick Mahomes-esque. Yeah. When you like, they're just not out. If you give them the ball and some time, they can score. Yeah. And if you doubt it, you're crazy, because they don't just get lucky. They work on it. They're good at it. Fernando is good at it. He doesn't sweat it. He doesn't freak out. The team doesn't freak out. The guys do what they need to do. And if this had been the first time they had done that, it would be, oh, wow, look what they did. It's not. Mm-hmm. They've done this numerous times. Now, it's the first time they've had to do it to win a game per se, but I guess not really. Iowa was a similar situation.
Yeah, they got that big pass play to Surratt on the slant and broke it away late in the ball game. Interesting thing here, too. Indiana got the turnover there in the second quarter. They scored with 38 seconds left in the quarter to go up 17-7, I believe, at that point, if I'm not mistaken. And then they get the game-winning touchdown with 36 seconds left in the game. So that goes to show you how quick, this team can be in that latter part of a quarter, like the second quarter, getting points, which I want to say that's their 8th game doing it. And then coming back and getting the 80-yard drive, scoring with 36 seconds left in the game. So interesting dynamic. They were up 20-7 with 8:41 left in the third quarter. And then Penn State scored, what was that? 10. Oh, I think, that's 14 points, isn't it? They were up 20-7 at the beginning of the third quarter. That's, somewhere around there. They rattled off a number of scores in a row, as my mathematics are showing here as a Ball State grad.
For Andy pointing out, hey, great teams have to learn how to win close games on the road. Exactly. You have to be able to win in situations that are just brutal. At Iowa, at Penn State, they've done it. And
Oregon.
This is just building up. This is just adding more for the future. This is just adding more experience for the college football playoff run. It just gives them not just the experience, but it gives them the confidence that they can do this, that they can expect to do this, that this is what we do. Crab cakes and football. It's what Indiana does.
That's right. And well, I mean, again, it was a tremendous win. Hope the team has great, safe travel back to Bloomington, and that flight will be nice and short.
Yeah, and hopefully they came out of it injury-free. Great point by Dabney, because they're beat up. The offensive line, I mentioned it earlier, it's just nicks and not, they're just dinged. And Aiden Fisher back today for the Hoosiers, looked solid. Elijah Surratt still out, so they're nursing that hammy a little bit longer. Just there's no reason to rush him. And again, they're doing this with a beat-up offensive line, without their best receiver, without an offensive lineman besides a beat-up.
Well, and they lost Kellen Wyatt, who was one
Kellen
of their
Wyatt,
best
defensive
players.
Wyatt, yeah. Mm-hmm. So they've lost a bunch of guys. They've been beat up, and yet they're still doing what they need to do, and that's a sign of a winner. I said it earlier. Winning games like today, that's what winning teams do. They drove down with all the pressure that was on them, 90,000 people. This is just, and it was just no big deal, and they got it done. So congratulations to Indiana as they go to 10-0. Congratulations to Kurt Signetti, the second consecutive season. He gets the Hoosiers into that position, and now they're locked into the college football playoffs, people. They would literally have to lose to Wisconsin and Purdue to get knocked out of the Big Ten championship. So they're locked into the Big Ten championship.
Russell, we didn't pass over Becker. We were talking about him extensively at the beginning of the game that he had today, and leading the receivers with 118 yards, and had one of the
game ball MVP, baby. Yeah. If it wasn't for that catch by Omar, man, on the day, it's Charlie Becker. I mean, he put them in a position to be able to score that touchdown.
Oh yeah, he did.
But throughout the day, he made a ton of great catches, he was the next guy up. He's the guy that stood up, or that showed up today when Elijah Surratt was out. So no, huge day for Charlie.
Yeah,
Becker.
He had a lot of.
They don't win that game without him.
Yeah, he had a lot of contested throws that he did well on in that ball.
If it wasn't for the catch by Omar, we'd be talking about Charlie right now.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, we would be. But don't mean to gloss over him. We just talked about him earlier in the show, and but yeah, absolutely phenomenal performance. But again, it shows this is what championship teams do. Different guys step up when you need them to. Guys that haven't. Charlie Becker is a perfect example. He had 7 catches today, and I mentioned it earlier. That's how many he had for a career coming into this game. Great teams do great things.
A kid they got out of Nashville, Tennessee, and has been working his tail off. And even Sig has mentioned in some of his pressers about the progress the kid has made. And he really likes the fact that he busts his tail every day in practice. And he's always about, what can I do? How can I, do my best? And he does it. He's been a big special teams player for them all day, all year as well. So like I said earlier, I'm tickled to death for a kid like that, because he busts his tail every day in practice, and that's why he goes out and makes plays like he does. Had he gone out there just thinking, oh shit, I'm in, and not practice like he was the next man up, he wouldn't have been in a position like today to make those plays. He'd have dropped them. He would have, peed down his leg in front of 60, 100,000, 110,000 people in the stands. So
Russell doesn't think that you called out correctly that was Lake Michigan that I showed earlier. Well, we'll do it again. He doesn't think that that's Lake Michigan, since neither are near Happy Valley. Russell, what you may not know is I'm in Chicago ahead of Indiana's basketball game tomorrow with Marquette. Did not make the trip to Penn State today, so that's why. But no, that is absolutely Lake Michigan. But man says Gus was bugging him today. Why was Gus bugging him today? I think that he was enjoying the fact that they had a game. I mean, that Gus was enjoying the fact that they had a game, and may not have made some IU fans happy, but that's what he's supposed to do, man. He's supposed to do it. Oregon 9-0 over Iowa right now.
Yeah, Iowa just had a big pass play, so they're down to the 2-yard line. Iowa is, so it's going to be one of those games in Iowa City.
And how about Pons, man? That dude continues to just play above. He's 5'9", and he plays like he's 6'5". Just unbelievable. We'll talk about it more later, but everybody talks about Ohio State's defense. But, they have 12 or only 5 interceptions on the year.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not too tough. But anyway, we'll talk about all that stuff later, man. It's been great. It's been fun. It was a fun day. Lots of great stats. I'm back Monday to do it all again on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, of course. And hopefully you can join us. Make sure you're joining Coach for Hoosier Tailgate, and go to thehoosier.com for a complete wrap-up, thoroughly inside and out of everything that went on in Happy Valley today. Coach, anything else?
No, partner. Enjoy the weekend, everybody, and we'll get it all resettled and teed up on Monday.
Sounds like a winner. I'm Jim Coyle. Until then, I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.